There comes a morning in every life when the sun rises not just outside your window, but within your chest. It is a quiet dawn, a trembling light whispering, "Believe in yourself." Most people miss that moment because they are busy doubting, measuring their worth with someone else's ruler. But the truth stands eternal. The world does not begin to see you until you have seen yourself. The world cannot clap for a song you are too afraid to sing. When you rise in the mirror of your own faith, when you look into your reflection and say, "I am more than my fear, more than my failure, more than my yesterday," you ignite a fire that no darkness can drown. That fire is belief. That belief is not arrogance, it is the quiet courage of knowing that your life has meaning before anyone else agrees with you. I have met souls who lived a lifetime waiting for permission to be great. They stood on the edge of possibility, waiting for applause before they began to dance. They wanted the world to say yes before they whispered yes to themselves. But the world is an echo, my child. It repeats what you say to it. If you shout weakness, it will send you back despair. If you declare strength, it will answer with opportunity. The sound you send into the world is the faith you have in yourself. Belief is not built in a day. It is born in small, stubborn moments. When you choose to stand even when trembling, when you refuse to bow to doubt, when you speak even though your voice shakes. Each of those moments stitches the fabric of your strength. Each choice says, "I am worthy of my own trust." And trust, once you earn it from yourself, becomes a crown the world will one day bow to. I remember the kind of nights when faith feels like a stranger. The world seems too large, the dream too far, the heart too tired. In those nights, the mirror whispers cruel things. It tells you that you are not enough, not beautiful enough, not wise enough, not strong enough. But those are not your words. They are the echoes of a society that fears confident souls. You must speak back to the mirror. Tell it who you are. Tell it you are the dream that dared to survive, the breath that refused to break, the hope that learned to walk through fire. Believing in yourself is not a pretty thing. It is not a poem made of easy verses. It is the storm and the calm after. It is crying in silence but standing in sunlight the next morning. It is forgiving yourself for the mistakes you made when you did not yet know better. It is telling the little child inside you, "You are safe now. You are free to become." When you believe in yourself, you are giving that child wings. There is no power greater than the woman or man who has decided to believe despite evidence to the contrary. Life will throw doubts like stones. People will question your worth. Circumstances will laugh at your dream. But if you hold to your truth, if you whisper to yourself, "I can," the universe begins to shift its weight in your favor. The seas of resistance part for those who walk with conviction. You may not see results today. You may not be understood tomorrow. But faith has a slow rhythm. It grows like dawn. First faint, then full, then blazing. The world moves to its own clock, but your belief must move to your heartbeat. Keep believing, and time itself becomes your ally. The dream that seems distant today becomes the destiny that greets you tomorrow. There will always be voices. Oh, so many voices that tell you to stay small. They will call you foolish for daring, arrogant for speaking, ungrateful for wanting more. Let them talk. You are not required to live their limited script. They cannot see the world you carry inside. Only you know the music that beats in your chest, the vision that keeps you awake at night. Protect it. Nurture it. Believe in it as a mother believes in her child long before the world hears its cry. Do not wait for perfect moments to start. Do not wait for the applause of strangers. Begin now, even in trembling, because belief is muscle. It grows stronger when exercised. Every step you take in faith trains the world to follow your rhythm. You are teaching it how to treat you, how to honor you, how to believe in you. You are teaching it through your example that courage is contagious. There are those who will try to dim your shine, because your light reminds them of their shadows. Smile gently at them. Bless them with distance. Keep walking. The sun does not apologize for shining. It does not ask the moon's permission to rise. And you, child of the universe, are no less radiant. You were not born to hide in corners. You were born to illuminate. Belief is the seed of destiny. Every invention, every song, every revolution began in the heart of someone who believed before the world did. The world did not ask for airplanes, but two brothers believed in flight. The world did not vote for light bulbs, but one man believed in illumination. Every change the world now praises began with someone willing to be misunderstood. So if you are being questioned now, if you are walking alone, know that you are in sacred company. There will be days when your belief is tested, when the rent is due, the dream is distant, and the soul is weary. In those days, belief is not a roar, it is a whisper. It is the quiet voice saying, keep going. Do not mistake small faith for no faith. Even embers can set forests aflame. Even a flicker can become a beacon. Protect that flicker. Feed it with affirmations, with gratitude, with small victories. Every act of self-belief is a brick in the foundation of your future. You are not what they called you. You are not your failures. You are not your scars. You are the story that survived all of that and still found a reason to hope. When you start to believe that truth, you start to glow from within. And that glow is what draws the world toward you. The world responds to energy. Believe in yourself, and you radiate energy that commands respect. When you speak, let your words be soaked in conviction. When you walk, let your steps sound like certainty. When you dream, let your vision be too vivid to doubt. The world is full of people waiting for someone to show them what faith looks like. Be that example. Be the living evidence that self-belief is not a myth. Show them how a heart anchored in belief becomes unstoppable. You must also understand that believing in yourself does not mean you will never fall. It means that when you fall, you know how to rise. It means you have learned the art of resurrection, the sacred practice of beginning again. Every time you rise, you prove your belief was not in vain. The world watches how you rise. That is when it begins to believe. Your journey will teach others how to trust themselves. When they see you walk in faith, they remember their own forgotten dreams. That is how change begins, not with grand speeches or loud promises, but with one soul daring to believe and another finding courage to follow. You become a mirror for the world, showing it the strength it already has. And when the day comes that the world finally believes in you, you will realize it was not the world that changed. It was your belief that changed the way you saw the world. The applause will come, yes, but it will be soft compared to the music already playing in your spirit. You will smile, not because they finally see you, but because you never stop seeing yourself. There will always be people more talented, more fortunate, more visible. Do not measure your worth against them. The flower does not compare its petals to another's bloom. It simply opens, trusting the sun will find it. And it always does. The sun finds every flower that dares to bloom. So bloom, even if the garden seems empty. Bloom and the bees will come. Bloom and the sky will notice. Believe not only in your abilities, but in your purpose. You were not placed here by accident. You are a sentence in the story of eternity, and your belief is the ink that writes it. Every time you choose to believe, you honor the hands that shaped you, the ancestors who endured so that you could stand. You carry their prayers in your spine, their courage in your heartbeat. Believing in yourself is not only for you. It is for everyone who believed in you before you were born. Remember, there will be seasons when silence follows your efforts. You will plant seeds and see no sprout for months. Do not give up. The roots are growing where eyes cannot see. Faith is invisible labor. Keep nurturing it. Water it with persistence. Sing to it with gratitude. Because one morning when the world least expects it, your garden will bloom so wildly that those who doubted you will ask for your secret. And your secret will be simple: I believed when it was hardest to. Let your belief not be dependent on applause, success, or validation. Let it live in your daily acts of self-respect. When you speak truth even when your voice shakes, that is belief. When you walk away from what diminishes you, that is belief. When you forgive yourself for yesterday's mistakes, that is belief. Each of those moments trains your soul to stand taller. And soon, the world begins to reflect that posture. You are not meant to beg for belief. You are meant to embody it. Let your eyes tell the story of your endurance. Let your laughter carry the echo of triumph. When you walk through the world with the serenity of someone who knows their worth, you invite the world to adjust its gaze. Confidence does not need to shout, it simply is. When you are certain of your own light, even shadows become less intimidating. Do not fear solitude. The world often misreads solitude as loneliness, but it is in solitude that belief matures. It is in silence that you hear the whisper of your own truth. Spend time alone with your dreams. Feed them. Shape them. The noise of the crowd can drown the rhythm of your spirit. Withdraw sometimes and listen to your heartbeat. It will tell you all you need to know about faith. As you travel this journey of self-belief, you will meet both allies and adversaries. Some will see your glow and celebrate it. Others will see your glow and be threatened by it. Walk graciously among both. The ones who love you remind you of your light. The ones who doubt you remind you to shine brighter. Both are teachers. Thank them quietly and keep moving. Every time you doubt yourself, remember this: the world does not give crowns to those who hide. It crowns those who dare to show up again and again, even with trembling hands. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision that belief matters more. When fear knocks, answer the door with faith. Tell it, you may walk beside me, but you will not lead. Tomorrow's recognition is born in today's faith. Every believer today is the celebrated visionary of tomorrow. So if no one claps for you yet, keep going. If no one sees you yet, keep going. If no one understands you yet, keep going. Because faith does not need witnesses, it needs persistence. And persistence always wins. You are the sculptor and the sculpture, the artist and the canvas. What you believe about yourself becomes the masterpiece you offer to the world. Paint boldly. Chisel fearlessly. Do not wait for perfection. Perfection is a myth whispered by those afraid to begin. Begin imperfectly, but begin. The courage to start is the seed of every miracle. In the final measure, the journey of belief is the journey home to yourself. The applause fades, the lights dim, the noise dies down, and what remains is you. Sitting with your own heart, knowing you did not betray your potential. Knowing you stood when you could have knelt. Knowing you believed when no one else did. That peace is worth more than all the world's approval. So when the sun rises tomorrow, and you look into the mirror, speak kindly to that reflection. Say it, I believe in you. Say it until your bones remember. Say it until the world begins to echo it back. Because the law of the universe is simple today. If you believe in yourself, tomorrow the world will believe in you. There is a moment in every heart when the world grows quiet enough for you to hear your own voice. It is not a loud or demanding voice, but a gentle, trembling whisper that says, "You are capable." That whisper is the beginning of self-belief, and it almost always begins in silence. Before the world claps for you, before your name is spoken in rooms you've never entered, you must learn to hear yourself. In that sacred silence, away from judgment and noise, you start to recognize the sound of your truth. You begin to understand that validation from others is only an echo of the approval you must first give yourself. It is there, in solitude, that you start composing the song of your identity, a melody made of courage, resilience, and quiet determination. The world moves fast. spinning in a rush of opinions and expectations. It tells you who to be, how to act, what to want. In all that chaos, your inner voice can become a faint echo, easily drowned by the volume of others. But when you choose to pause, when you let the noise fade, you make room for that whisper to grow stronger. Silence becomes a sanctuary, a space where you meet yourself again, stripped of pretenses, free from comparison, rooted in authenticity. It is there you start to feel your strength taking shape, not through applause but through awareness. You begin to realize that belief does not need witnesses. It only needs willingness. Self-belief is not born in the crowd. It is shaped in the lonely hours, in the quiet moments when you doubt your purpose, but keep moving anyway. It's when you look in the mirror and promise to keep trying, even when no one else sees your effort. The silence tests you. It asks, will you still believe when no one is watching? And when you answer yes, even with a shaking heart, you step into the power that the world cannot give or take away. That is the root of all greatness. The decision to trust your own rhythm before the world learns to dance to it. When you sing your first notes of faith, the world may not hear them. Your song may sound small, uncertain, or unfinished. But that's how all beginnings sound. Every masterpiece starts in private. Every dream is first whispered in secret. The silence is not empty, it is fertile. It grows the seeds of belief until they are strong enough to bloom in the open. And when the world finally hears your song, it will sound like magic, though it was born from quiet work and endless patience. The applause will come later, but by then you'll already know your worth, because you found it in the stillness long before the echo returned. The world is a mirror, and it reflects back what you dare to declare about yourself. Every thought, every word, every belief you carry becomes a signal that the universe responds to. When you walk with your head bowed, believing you are small, the world agrees. It treats you as invisible, it echoes your doubt. But when you lift your chin and speak your worth with quiet conviction, when you decide that you are enough without proof, the world slowly rearranges itself to meet that truth. You are always teaching the world how to see you, and it learns from your self-perception. The reflection you meet is not random, it is a response to the energy you project. There are people who spend their whole lives waiting for others to see them, to validate their worth, before they claim it themselves. They do not realize that the world is merely repeating what they have already told it. Every complaint, every hesitation, every moment of self-rejection writes a silent instruction for how others should treat them. When you say, even unconsciously, I am not worthy, the world obeys. It gives you more reasons to doubt. But when you shift that language, when you begin to say, I am capable, I am deserving, I am powerful, the world has no choice but to listen. It begins to show you opportunities that match your new tone. The power of self-declaration is ancient. Before anything existed, there was the word. Creation began not with action but with a statement. What you declare becomes the seed of what will grow. If you speak fear, you plant it. If you speak faith, you cultivate it. The world does not discriminate. It simply mirrors what you offer. That is why it is vital to guard your language, to nurture yourself. Talk as carefully as you would nurture a child. Words have weight, and when they are spoken from your mouth about your own being, they carry the authority to shape your life. Confidence is not always loud. Sometimes it is the still assurance that the world will rise to meet your steps. It is the certainty that your inner worth does not depend on outer recognition. When you begin to live from that understanding, people start responding differently. You notice that doors open more easily, respect follows naturally, and your presence commands attention without you asking for it. This is not magic, it is reflection. The world mirrors your belief in real time, and that belief is built not in a day, but in every thought you allow to live within you. Even in moments of rejection or misunderstanding, the mirror principle remains. When someone fails to see your value, it does not reduce you, it reveals the limits of their sight. Your task is not to convince them, but to continue declaring your truth. Keep speaking your worth until the reflection changes. Keep choosing belief over doubt, until the world learns the rhythm of your confidence. The moment you understand that reality bends to your declaration, you stop waiting for permission to shine. True confidence is not born from perfection. It grows from persistence. It rises slowly, shaped by days when nothing seems to work, when your plans crumble and your hands tremble, yet you keep showing up. Confidence does not bloom in comfort. It is forged in the fires of failure and disappointment, in the quiet decision to try again, even after the world has turned its back. Perfection demands flawlessness, but persistence asks only for effort. And it is effort, not flawlessness, that builds strength of spirit. When you return to your dream after being broken, when you choose to stand again after the fall, that is when true confidence begins to take root. Perfection is an illusion dressed in glitter. It tells you that you must wait until everything is in place. The right timing, the right skill, the right support, before you act. But confidence grows in motion. It gathers power from the act of doing, from the courage to take imperfect steps. Every stumble teaches balance, every mistake sharpens awareness, every setback reveals a lesson the easy days could never teach. If you wait to be perfect, you will wait forever, and your light will dim behind the closed doors of hesitation. But if you persist, if you dare to keep moving through the mess, the confusion, and the doubt, you will build a foundation of unshakable trust in yourself. There is something sacred about persistence. It is the whisper of your soul that says, "Not yet finished." It is the refusal to surrender your dream to exhaustion. Even when progress feels invisible, persistence is at work beneath the surface, strengthening your character, thickening your skin, teaching your heart resilience. Each attempt adds another layer of confidence. You begin to realize that the measure of your worth is not how quickly you succeed, but how faithfully you endure. You start to trust the rhythm of your effort more than the applause of others. And in that trust, a quiet confidence is born. People who chase perfection are fragile. One failure can shatter them. But those who embrace persistence become indestructible. They know that mistakes are not final, that rejection is not ruin. They see every fall as part of the dance, every misstep as choreography in disguise. True confidence does not fear failure, because it has already made peace with it. It does not shrink in the face of imperfection, because it knows that perfection was never the goal. Progress was. The world belongs to those who keep going, who keep shaping themselves through effort and endurance. When you persist, you teach yourself that you are capable of surviving uncertainty. You learn to rely on your own strength, to trust that even when the path disappears, your footsteps will find a way. That trust becomes the heartbeat of confidence. You begin to carry yourself differently, not with arrogance, but with calm assurance. The storms no longer frighten you, because you know you've weathered worse. The world feels less intimidating because you have already proven to yourself that persistence, not perfection, is the truest measure of power. Every fall is an invitation to rise stronger and believe deeper. Life will not always meet you with open arms. Sometimes it will push you to the ground, testing the depth of your will and the strength of your belief. The world will hand you disappointment when you expected joy, silence when you longed for recognition, and loss when you prayed for stability. But in every fall, there lies a hidden lesson, a quiet whisper calling you to get up and see yourself anew. Falling is not failure. It is the earth reminding you that even the strongest must bow before they learn to stand again. It humbles the ego but strengthens the soul. It breaks what is fragile and leaves only what is real. When you rise after falling, You carry something that cannot be taught in comfort: resilience. You begin to understand that strength is not found in never falling, but in the grace with which you return to your feet. The bruises you earn become reminders of your endurance. The scars become symbols of wisdom. Each time you rise, you tell the world, you cannot break what was born to rise. That belief grows not in the easy days, but in the ones that strip you bare. When everything falls apart and you still whisper yes to life, that is when faith begins to deepen. It is in those moments that belief becomes more than a word. It becomes a lifeline. There will be days when you fall so hard that you question your purpose. When the pain feels heavier than your spirit, you will be tempted to stay down, to convince yourself that maybe this is where you belong. But that is the test. The fall is asking, will you still rise even when no one expects you to? Rising is not just a physical act. It is spiritual defiance. It is choosing to see hope where logic sees none, to believe in growth even in the ashes. Every time you rise, you rebuild your relationship with yourself. You learn that your strength is not dependent on circumstances, but on choice. The world respects the ones who fall and rise, because rising transforms you. The person who stands again is never the same as the one who fell. There is humility in their eyes, calmness in their voice, and a quiet knowing in their steps. They no longer chase perfection. They embody authenticity. Falling removes the masks you wear to impress others, and forces you to meet your truest self. And once you have met that self, you stop fearing failure. You understand that every fall is only a pause in your rhythm, not the end of your song. You begin to walk with a deeper confidence, one born not of success but of survival. The world begins to believe in you because it recognizes something unbreakable in your spirit, something that has been tested and found whole. Solitude is where self-belief matures into strength. It is in the stillness, away from the noise of expectation and the constant hum of opinions, that you begin to meet the real shape of your soul. The world often teaches that you need to be surrounded by others to feel whole, that validation must come from approval and attention. But solitude is not loneliness. It is the classroom of self-awareness. It is the space where you hear your own thoughts clearly, where you can separate your voice from the echo of others. In solitude, masks fall away and you are left with truth, unfiltered, unpolished, and profoundly yours. That truth becomes the seed of self-belief, the quiet confidence that does not depend on applause to know its worth. When you sit in your own company long enough, you learn to become your own source of comfort. You begin to understand that peace is not something the world grants you. It is something you cultivate within. You start to see how often you sought belonging at the cost of authenticity, how often you agreed just to be accepted, how many times you silenced yourself to be loved. Solitude teaches you to reverse that pattern. It teaches you that being true to yourself is worth more than being liked by others. It shows you that silence can be healing, that aloneness can be empowering, that your worth does not decrease when the room empties. In solitude, you become intimate with your own dreams. You can hear them whisper again, those small voices you ignored in the rush of daily life. You can nurture them without interference, feed them with thought and patience. Every idea, every goal that has changed the world began in solitude, in the mind of someone who dared to think differently before anyone else believed in their vision. Solitude gives you permission to create without judgment, to explore the corners of your imagination freely. It is not isolation, it is incubation. It prepares your spirit to face the noise of the world with clarity and conviction. There will be moments when solitude feels heavy, when the silence seems too vast to bear. But even in those moments there is growth. Strength does not come from constant company, it comes from learning to stand firm even in emptiness. When you can enjoy your own presence, when you can sit with your thoughts without fear, You become unshakable. You stop chasing affirmation because you have already found it within. You begin to move differently. Slower, more intentional, more grounded. People can sense it. The energy of someone who has made peace with themselves commands quiet respect. Solitude refines you in ways the crowd never can. It strips away your dependence on noise and teaches you the melody of your own being. That melody becomes your compass, guiding you through uncertainty with unwavering faith, reminding you that you are enough even when you stand alone. When you walk in faith, the world adjusts its gaze to honor you. There is a quiet authority in the way a person moves when they believe in themselves. It is not loud, not boastful, not even deliberate. It is a calm knowing, a confidence that lives in the bones, not in the voice. People can sense it before you speak. The air around you changes, the room becomes still, the space listens. Faith walks differently. It carries its own light, and that light draws attention, not because it demands it, but because it embodies truth. When you carry faith within you, the world takes notice. It bends slowly but surely to the rhythm of your certainty. Faith is not something you wear when life is easy. It is what you hold on to when everything else falls away. It is the rope that keeps you steady when the wind of doubt tries to pull you down. When you walk in faith, you are declaring that the unseen is stronger than the visible, that your purpose is greater than your fear, that your path is guided even when it is dark. Faith is not built on evidence but on endurance. It grows each time you move forward, despite not knowing how things will unfold. Every step you take in uncertainty becomes a prayer of courage, every breath a testament of trust. The world may not understand that kind of strength. It may question your choices, laugh at your optimism, dismiss your persistence. But the world always resists what it secretly admires. People fear what reminds them of their own buried faith. When you walk with conviction, it exposes the hesitation in others. When you move with purpose, it highlights their complacency. That is why faith must also carry patience. The world will not always applaud you immediately, but it will learn to respect you eventually. Time reveals the truth of belief. The one who walks in faith today will be the one the world follows tomorrow. There is power in being unwavering. When you decide that no matter what happens, you will not surrender your vision, you become magnetic. Faith radiates energy, and energy attracts alignment. The right people, opportunities, and moments begin to find their way toward you, because your spirit is broadcasting clarity. You no longer chase what is meant for you. You prepare for it. You do not beg for blessings. You become ready to receive them. Walking in faith transforms the way you exist. You no longer wait for proof to act. Your belief becomes the proof. That is what makes the world shift around you. It recognizes something steady, something pure, something powerful in your stance. Faith is often mistaken for arrogance, but they are opposites. Arrogance shouts to be noticed, faith whispers and still commands attention. Arrogance seeks validation, faith creates it. When you walk with faith, your silence carries more power than others' noise. You do not need to argue your worth, because your energy speaks it for you. You do not need to defend your dream, because your persistence proves it daily. Faith has a rhythm that cannot be rushed. It knows that what is meant for you will not pass you, and what passes you is never meant to stay. This quiet knowing is what gives faith its beauty. There will be times when your faith feels lonely, when no one around you sees what you see. The path of belief is narrow, often walked in solitude. Others may call you unrealistic, too hopeful, too daring. But those words are only shadows trying to dim your flame. Keep walking. The world cannot see what has not yet manifested, but you can. You are carrying tomorrow's reality in your vision today. And once it blooms, they will call it luck, not realizing it was faith all along. Every believer walks through a season of misunderstanding before they arrive at recognition. That season builds humility and strengthens conviction. It teaches you to rely not on praise but on purpose. When you walk in faith, you no longer measure your worth by how quickly results come. You understand that divine timing is not delay but preparation. You see setbacks as detours, not denials. You begin to read the signs of life differently. When something doesn't work out, you do not curse the moment. You trust that something greater is unfolding beyond your sight. This kind of trust makes you unshakable. You no longer panic when plans change. You adjust. You no longer fear endings. You recognize them as beginnings wearing a disguise. The world cannot intimidate someone who has mastered the art of trust. The gaze of the world shifts when you move in faith, because faith carries integrity. It is not about pretending everything is fine. It is about believing everything has purpose. When you hold that belief consistently, people begin to feel safe in your presence. They come to you not just for advice, but for calm, for hope. You become a mirror for what they long to see in themselves: courage, peace, resilience. Without even trying, you inspire others to rise higher, to trust deeper, to move with intention. The world begins to follow your lead because you walk with light. You start to notice how life itself bends to meet your conviction. Conversations align, coincidences multiply, opportunities unfold at the right moments. This is not magic, it is energy responding to faith. The world operates on vibration, and faith vibrates at the frequency of creation. When you believe in yourself and act from that belief, you become a co-creator of your reality. The world honors creators. It cannot resist the gravity of someone who knows where they are going. Even those who once doubted you will begin to admire you, not because you sought their approval, but because your consistency commanded their respect. There is grace in the way faith carries you through uncertainty. It softens your fear without erasing it. It teaches you to breathe through chaos, to smile through delay, to keep your eyes on the horizon even when storms rise. The world notices the calm of a person anchored in faith. It wonders where that peace comes from, how you continue to move with hope when circumstances scream otherwise. But you know the secret. Faith is not based on sight. It is based on knowing that the light you carry within is stronger than the darkness outside. The beauty of walking in faith is that it transforms obstacles into teachers. Every challenge becomes a lesson in patience, every delay a chance to refine your strength. Faith does not remove struggle, it redefines it. It reminds you that even pain has purpose, even confusion has direction. When you carry that understanding, you stop resisting life and start partnering with it. The world can feel that harmony in you. It senses that you are not fighting the current, but flowing with it, trusting that wherever it leads will serve your highest good. That trust is what makes the world turn its head, what makes people pause and wonder what guides you. Faith gives your presence weight. You walk into rooms differently, not demanding attention, but commanding it. There is power in your stillness, certainty in your gestures, warmth in your eyes. The world honors that kind of energy. It respects what it cannot shake. The storms that once intimidated you now respect your persistence. The obstacles that once blocked your path now move aside, because faith teaches you that what is for you cannot be taken away. And when you live from that truth, the world begins to cooperate with you, instead of competing against you. Walking in faith changes not only how others see you, but how you see them. You begin to view everyone with more compassion, because you understand that doubt is a universal struggle. You see through the masks people wear, through the defensiveness that hides their fears. You no longer need to prove anything, so you can extend grace easily. The world honors that softness too, because it recognizes strength disguised as kindness. You become a living example of what it means to lead without dominance, to shine without blinding, to succeed without pride. When you walk in faith, you move as though the ground itself rises, to meet your steps. You are no longer at the mercy of circumstance. You trust your vision even in darkness, and the world senses that light. The gaze that once overlooked you begins to linger. The world begins to believe in you, because it sees the reflection of your belief mirrored back through your actions, your words, your presence. Faith teaches the world how to treat you. It trains people to take you seriously, not through demands, but through example. It teaches the world that you are guided, that you are grounded, that you cannot be shaken by temporary storms. And though you may walk alone at times, every step echoes with strength, every breath becomes a declaration of trust, and every gaze that once doubted begins to turn in quiet recognition of the unbreakable truth within you.